Your silence after his rejection is killing him. Sometimes the most powerful response is not an argument, not an explanation, not a final message. Sometimes it's silence. And if you've been quiet after he rejected you, if you didn't beg, didn't chase, didn't try to convince him, you may think your silence means nothing. But the truth is far more intense. Your silence is doing what your words never could. 1. Why silence hurts more than words. When someone rejects you, they expect a reaction. They expect tears, questions, anger, explanations, or at least a plea. Even if they don't admit it, rejection comes with an unspoken expectation. I still matter enough to cause a reaction. When you go silent, that expectation collapses. No drama, no emotional chaos, no validation, and that is deeply unsettling, because silence forces him to sit alone with his decision, without you cushioning the impact. 2. Silence removes his power. During rejection, power feels one-sided. He thinks, I chose, I ended it, I control the outcome. But the moment you disappear emotionally, something shifts. Your silence says, I don't need to convince you. I respect myself enough to walk away. That message hits the ego harder than any emotional outburst ever could. Because suddenly, he is no longer the center of your emotional universe. 3. The ego doesn't handle quiet well. The human ego feeds on feedback. Positive or negative, it doesn't matter. What it cannot tolerate is nothing. When you go silent, there's no reassurance that he's still wanted. No proof that he's irreplaceable. No evidence that rejecting you made him powerful. Your quiet becomes a mirror. And in that mirror, he sees something terrifying. He may not be as important as he thought. 4. Silence forces him to wonder. Words close loops. Silence opens them. When you stop explaining yourself, his mind begins to do the work. He starts asking questions he never asked before. Did I misjudge her? Was she stronger than I realized? Why didn't she fight for me? And the most dangerous one, did I lose something valuable without realizing it? You are no longer available to clarify, reassure, or soften his doubts. So they grow. 5. He replays the past without you. Silence removes distractions. Without your presence, his mind replays memories. Your calm moments, your patience, the way you showed up without being asked. Things he ignored when you were available now feel louder. Because absence changes perspective. What felt ordinary before now feels rare. 6. Your silence signals emotional maturity. Many people confuse silence with weakness, but emotionally intelligent people recognize it as strength. Your silence communicates self-control, self-respect, emotional boundaries. It tells him, I don't need chaos to prove my worth. That realization hits especially hard if he expected you to collapse. Because suddenly, you appear stronger without him than you ever did trying to keep him. 7. Rejection feels safe until silence arrives. Rejection feels safe when the rejected person stays emotionally available. As long as you're still there, he feels desired. He feels in control. He feels certain he could come back anytime. Your silence removes that safety. Now he doesn't know where you are emotionally, whether you've moved on, whether the door is still open. And uncertainty is uncomfortable, especially for someone who thought they had the final word. 8. Silence triggers fear of replacement. You didn't say, I'll always wait. You didn't say, no one else will love me. You said nothing. And silence allows one terrifying possibility. You might be building a life without him. That thought is unbearable for someone who assumed they were irreplaceable. Because now, someone else could hear your laughter. Someone else could value your presence. Someone else could choose you fully, and he has no access to stop it. 9. Why he starts checking, watching, wondering. This is when strange behaviors appear. He checks your social media. He asks about you indirectly. He accidentally reaches out. Not because he suddenly knows what he wants, but because your silence created emotional withdrawal. And withdrawal creates anxiety. Your absence forces him to feel what you felt, without your support. 10. Silence makes him question his judgment. When you don't argue or chase, it disrupts his narrative. He expected you to confirm his belief. I made the right choice, but your calm exit whispers, maybe I didn't, because confident people don't beg, and secure people don't chase rejection. Your silence reframes the story, not with words, but with dignity. 11. Silence is not a strategy, it's self-respect. This is important. You are not silent to punish him. You are silent to protect yourself. And paradoxically, that's why it affects him so deeply. Because when someone chooses self-respect over attachment, it reveals value. You didn't disappear to manipulate. You disappeared because you know your worth doesn't need approval. 12. The psychological shift he doesn't expect. Rejection often creates relief, but silence transforms relief into loss. At first he feels free, then he feels empty, because he didn't just reject you, he lost access to your emotional energy. And emotional energy is addictive. Once it's gone, the absence is loud. 13. Silence ends the illusion of control. As long as you respond, he feels in control. When you stop responding, he can't predict you. He can't manage the narrative. He can't decide how this ends. That loss of control unsettles him, because now you own your story. 14. Why he may never admit this. He might never say, your silence affected me. Ego rarely allows honesty like that, but behavior reveals truth. Restlessness, curiosity, regret, delayed realization. Silence plants seeds that grow quietly. 15. Whether he comes back or not, you win. Here's the most important truth. Your silence isn't about making him return. It's about returning to yourself. If he comes back, it's because he finally saw your value. If he doesn't, it's because your silence freed you from someone who couldn't choose you fully. Either way, you regain your power. 16. Silence teaches him a lesson words never could. Words can be debated. Silence cannot. Your quiet exit teaches him. Not everyone begs. Not everyone waits. Not everyone loses themselves for love. Some people walk away with grace. And that lesson stays with him long after you're gone. 17. What your silence is really saying. Without speaking, you said, I deserve mutual choice. I won't shrink to be accepted. I value myself enough to leave rejection behind. Those messages echo, even in silence. 18. If you're struggling to stay silent, silence isn't easy. It takes courage to not explain your pain. If you're struggling, remember, you're not ignoring him. You're honoring yourself. Healing doesn't need an audience. 19. One day he will understand. Maybe months from now, maybe years later, there will be a moment when he realizes, she didn't lose me, I lost her. And by then, your silence will have already transformed you. 20. Final truth. Your silence after his rejection isn't weakness. It's closure without permission. It's choosing peace over validation, strength over attachment, self-worth over fear. And whether he ever admits it or not, your silence is doing exactly what it needs to do. Welcome to Psychology Fact. If you're curious about the hidden truths of the mind and heart, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon, so you never miss a fact that could change the way you see life.